Greetings, folks, and welcome. It is time for Mac Geek Gab, and listener Ari brings us our quick tip of the week with three-finger drag. He says it's an accessibility feature that he turns on immediately when he sets up his laptop, and the reason is clicking with one finger and awkwardly scrabbling with another to move things is no bueno. However, you go into System Settings or System Preferences if you're not yet on Ventura, click Accessibility, click Pointer Control or Mouse and Trackpad if you're not on Ventura, click on the Trackpad Options button, and then turn on Use Trackpad for Dragging or Enable Dragging. From the pop-up menu, choose three-finger drag as the dragging style. I tried this. It is amazing because you just put three fingers down and now you can drag a window. It's like you are clicking and dragging, except it's not that awkward thing you have to do with like three thumbs or any of that. More tips like this, plus your questions answered today on Mac Geek Gab 963 for Monday, January 9th, 2023. Folks, and indeed, welcome to Mac Geek Gab, the show where you send in tips like that. You send in your cool stuff found. You send in your questions. We share your tips and cool stuff found. We try to answer your questions. Sometimes, like today, we bring our cool stuff found of our own because we were just at CES. The goal is when we get together for each of us, every one of us, me, John, Pete, you, for every one of us to learn at least 5 new things every time we get together. Sponsors for this episode include rocketmoney.com/MGG, where you can go to get rid of those useless subscriptions and save hundreds per year. Kolide at Kolide, KOLIDE.com/MGG. It uses Slack for device security in your environment. It's like learning 5 new things, but it teaches you about the security of your workplace instead of other things. It's amazing. BBEdit, my favorite text editor. We'll talk more in depth about each of those 3 things. For now, back here in Durham, New Hampshire, after being in Vegas for CES, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And back here eventually, after an extended delay. But these things happen when you fly. Here in Fairfield, Connecticut, this is John F. Braun.
And here in Lee, New Hampshire, it feels like I just saw you guys a couple days ago. Both of you.
Even yesterday or 2 days.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't even remember.
Yeah, something like that. It's Pilot Pete. Good to be back with you guys in spite of my best efforts to forget to be here on time this morning. I am here. I'm going to blame it on the excessive fragrance of our room. That's it. That's what made me forget.
Yeah. One of our hallmates must have been very happy with the cannabis laws in Las Vegas, because nonstop, day and night, it was just floating in through the vents.
Every time we walked into our room. Oh, my goodness.
Every single time. Other than one morning, we walked back and we're like, oh, they must have checked out. And then we had to go out for a quick meeting. We came back like 30 minutes later and it smelled again. It was like, oh, they were just asleep.
They just sleeping in.
That's right. Yep. I'm guessing they weren't there for CES because it was constant. They never left. Yeah.
It was indeed.
Yeah.
But speaking of CES, did you see anything cool there, Dave?
I saw lots of cool things. I have a few of them to share. I think each of us has a few things to share. Yeah. The first thing I want to do, though, is I want to go through some quick tips here because we met with our friend JF in Las Vegas, and he shared a quick tip with us. He says, I'm guessing many of us use pinned conversations in messages for the people close to us or that we interact with frequently. Those are often called the top 9 because that's the maximum amount of conversations that you can pin in messages. Says, I recently stumbled upon a nice Mac shortcut after just trying it to see if it works, like we all do. You can go to any of your pinned conversations using Command plus the number 1 through 9. 1 through 3 across the top, 4 through 6 in the middle, 7 through 9 at the bottom. This works in Monterey as well as Ventura. This has been there for a long time. None of us knew about it, or at least we hadn't talked about it. But yeah, the command key, if you want to go to your 4th pinned message, Command 4 brings you right to that message or group of messages. or I guess it's a message group would be a better way to say it. Yeah, I know. It's great. Here's a bonus tip also from JF. If you want to save a little real estate in your Messages app, you can drag the divider between the Messages list and the main conversation. If you drag it to the left, you will get a vertical icon-only view of your top 9 as well as all your other conversations. So, yeah, good stuff on both counts. I had no idea of either of these things, and I don't think they're documented anywhere, which is what we love about Quick Tips. Yeah.
I think I knew about the first one.
Okay.
You forget to use it, and
Sure.
you may as well not know it, right? Because it isn't doing you any good.
It's true. It's true.
Now
Yep.
I remember it. Yeah.
Now we remember. Yep, it's pretty good stuff. Kenny brings us our next quick tip, actually 2 quick tips about the Apple Watch. He says, if you start a timer on your Apple Watch, you can also start many, many more at the same time. After starting the first timer, you will see a back arrow at the top left of the watch. Tap this and you can start another timer for the same time as the one or a different duration. So it'll default to the last thing you used. When you have multiple timers started, you can click on the back arrow and see the last timer set, and you will also see all the timers currently running, how long they have left to run, and the duration they were initially set for. This can be really useful, for example, timing different things while cooking, but I'm sure there are other use cases for this. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you get multiple timers in the Timers app on your phone, right? I know I've tried it in the past. Maybe it's new with 16, but I think the watch is the only one that can do multiple timers. Pete's muted, but he's trying to talk to us. So,
No, that wasn't me.
Okay.
I think
that's
you're right.
neat. I find with the A lady, sometimes I'm like, did I set a timer? And so I'll ask her, tell me about the timer, and it'll tell me.
Yep.
And if I've already set one, it's like, do you really want to set a second one? So
we use the A lady to set. We use the A lady to set multiple timers all the time. Because it like Kenny says, it's great for cooking. You got one thing going here, but I'm pretty sure Siri on the phone, or I say Siri. I say the Timers app on the phone. I don't know why I said Siri, but it's all good.
Because you can.
Because I can, and I can be wrong about it. But I'm pretty sure you can only have one timer going on the phone, but multiple on the watch. So thanks for that, Kenny.
Currently using my phone camera, so I can't turn it over without making everybody physically ill.
That's right.
And play with it. But I think you're right. And using it on the watch. I use it on the watch all the time when I'm flying to know when to switch fuel tanks. Never thought about it for being able to do that and run approaches and all that.
Interesting. So, that's really I would have thought there would be something in the plane that.
You are correct. For the modern airliners manufactured by, say, Boeing and Airbus and Embraer, yes, there is indeed. That's all automated. But I also drive a 31-year-old, now 32 this year, Grumman Tiger. That's not so automatic.
That's why. Okay, that makes more. Yeah, I was not thinking about your smaller plane. I was thinking like, wow, really? Pilots have to okay, good to know. Yep.
But believe it or not, when things go to crud on you, you still have to run a timer on a VOR approach and that sort of thing. So
smart. Yeah. All right, second tip about the Apple Watch from Kenny is in the Apple Watch settings, set the dock view to favorites instead of recents. Using the companion app on the iPhone, you can set up to 9 apps and select the order that they are displayed top to bottom. Now, for quick access to those apps, just click on the side button and it will give you easy access to your go-to apps instead of the crown that shows all apps. Ah, yeah.
What?
Right?
Crazy.
Oh, have either of you been doing? I had no idea that you could do this. In fact, I didn't even know until this moment. I saw he had 2 watch tips, and I'm like, great, I'll put that in the show. Okay, yeah, I'm sure this one's good too. As I was reading it, you probably heard it in my voice. Like, wait a minute, what? Didn't no idea. I got to do that after the show. I hope I remember. That's I wish I could. Well, I will, because I'll go back through and clean up the tips and everything afterwards. So. All right. One last one. While we were out at CES, I or before we left for CES, I created a note in Apple Notes, which of course is synced to all my devices, that listed all of the companies that I wanted to visit, and I organized them by location. So there were many different, like there's multiple trade show hall or convention center halls. There were also different events where there were going to be vendors. And so I organized them that way so I'd know, okay, when it comes time to go to these events, here's my punch list. And right before, as I was building it, it was just a bulleted list. When we got to CES and it was time to go, I highlighted that list and changed it from a bulleted list to a checklist because I wanted to be able to check things off, as one does. But I realized I was building this list. It was just in chronological order by when I added them. And after we went to our first event, I realized I needed these in alphabetical order. And there's no way to tell it to alphabetize this list. And so I was going to go back to my computer and do it for the thing for the next night, and I forgot. And we're waiting outside the event, the press event for night number 2. And I thought, well, let me try this. And I clicked and held on where the little button, like the checkbox is, or I tapped and held on it, and it started to move. And you can move things around. You can do this on the Mac too by clicking and holding on the checkbox. It won't check the box, but it will allow you to move things, and alphabetizing it that way with even just with my fingers was, it was a list of maybe 25 things, and it was, I got to do it in, 20 seconds. It was great. So little tip about notes is that you can do that, which I had no idea. So, Yep.
I think the other way to do it quickly would have been to not build it in Notes, but build it in a numbers document or something. Then alphabetize it and throw it back in Notes. But
yes.
But still, it would have been nice for the S lady to do that for you. Hey, S lady,
exactly.
alphabetize this.
Alphabetize that list.
I think she knows her alphabet. I could be wrong.
That's a fair point. Yeah, that's a reasonable thing to expect. It does not work, by the way. No. Yeah, and also, even once I had either a bulleted or a checkbox list, if I copied even just one section of that out to say put into BBEdit to alphabetize, it pulls all the check marks and stuff over with it. So it was a mess. I mean, BBEdit's cool because here's another quick tip. And this isn't just BBEdit. This is any fixed width text editor, and you can also do this in Numbers and in Pages and Word. Is hold down the Option key when selecting with your mouse, and you can draw top to bottom, left to right. So if let's say you have things, you've tabbed a bunch of stuff in, or you've got some extra characters like I have, had here, which I had space dash space or something. Option select, and you can select the things just to the left of or the right of a block of text. It's a weird thing to experience. I just recommend you go try it, but it's Option click drag.
So you're creating a table on the fly?
You're kind of creating a table on the fly, but it's not a table. It just selects that, and then you can just delete it. There's nothing. It's not going to leave it that way. It's just a table selection or column selection is a way to.
Yeah, that's what I guess. That's what. Yeah, so you're creating a column on the fly.
Yeah.
The question I have then is, could you right click it and alphabetize? Maybe not. Probably not.
Yeah, probably, but you still have. I mean, but you can't do this in the Notes app.
No,
way.
It would have to be on your laptop or your desktop.
Correct. Okay. Yeah.
Dave, let me jump in here real quick because I was a CES newbie, and I guess I'm past that now. I've been to my first one. For people that don't know what CES is or tangentially aware of what it is, it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, 3,100, I like to say exhibitionists, 3,100 exhibitors. I think a conservative estimate is 24 acres worth of exhibition booths. Booths were as small as something you stood at your 8th grade middle school science project and demonstrated what you had, to probably $2 million or more in some of these booths that they spent to exhibit their goods and wares. impressive to say the least. But like you say, you have to have a plan. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of acres of of exhibitors, and if you have people you want to see, if you don't put them in order, you're never going to get to even the ones you want to see, and there's no way to see it all. It's like trying to see Disney World, Epcot Center, and whatever other park there is down there between 9 and noon.
Right.
You can't do it. Not physically possible. And in the 4 or 5 days you're there, you can't do it. You need to know what you want to see and what your interests are. So,
yeah.
But I wanted to describe that to people who, we talk about CES all the time, and industry insiders know what it is. And I knew it existed, had no idea the scope and scale and effort that gets put into this.
Yeah, it's not like your typical conference where it's all in one building. I mean, it's so much. You have to take, motorized vehicles to get between the different convention halls. It's
and they actually provide motorized vehicles at some points, buses, big buses.
Yeah,
which was amazing.
Yeah, I thought it was more than 3,000. I thought it was more like 10,000 exhibitors. I could be wrong.
I was just going by the CTA brochure I saw that said 3,100 exhibitors this year. But I'll say this. I was surprised at your comment, Dave, that it just wasn't that crowded, and their estimates were 100,000 people this year, that it's normally 140, 150,000.
Yeah, even sometimes even 180. Yeah.
Wow.
My measure of the success of a show is how often people prevent me from getting where I want to go, and that happened plenty of times.
It happened enough, but
people moseying. I think we all commented about that there was a lot of moseying, which to me is, hey, not a bad thing, but
no, but it was remarkably less than previous CESs. I mean, there certainly were those moments, but not nearly as much as previous ones. Like, it was just easy to get around. It was easy. The one day we took the shuttle between the two sort of main convention halls, we didn't have to wait, and it was raining, which is like, we were just able to just walk up and get right on.
Everybody, Dave had a raincoat. John and I got wet. He didn't offer to share.
No, I didn't offer to share. That's not how it works.
But you did warn us ahead of time. Hey, it's raining. I brought my raincoat.
I'm going to go do this. Thankfully, there was enough cover, and it didn't matter. We were able to just get right on.
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, a torrential downpour in Las Vegas to the rest of the country is it's drizzling.
Yeah. I love that sound, because that sound means that I get to tell you about our sponsor, our friends over at Kolide. Kolide, with a K, is an endpoint security solution that uses the most powerful untapped resource in IT. What is it? It's your end users. Yeah, bear with me on this, right? Old school device management tools like MDMs force these disruptive agents onto our employees' devices that slow performance and treat privacy as an afterthought. Kolide does things differently. Instead of forcing changes on users, Kolide notifies your team via Slack when their devices are insecure and gives them step-by-step instructions on how to solve the problem. And by reaching out to employees via these friendly Slack messages and educating them about company policies, learning 5 new things can happen that way too. You don't just have to listen to Mac Geek Gab, right? You can get it any way. By doing it that way and educating your users, Kolide helps you build a culture in which everyone participates with security because everyone understands how and why to do it. For IT admins, Kolide provides you a single dashboard that lets you monitor the security of your entire fleet, whether they're running Mac, Windows, or Linux. That visibility makes it easy to prove compliance to your auditors, your customers, and your leadership. You can meet your compliance goals by putting your users first. Visit kolide.com/MGG to find out how. That's KOLIDE.com/MGG. And our thanks to Kolide for sponsoring this episode. Hey, did you have time over the holidays to go through, see every subscription that you're subscribed to, and make sure you're only staying subscribed to the ones that you want to stay subscribed to, and then you spent all that time to cancel the ones that you want to get rid of, right? Yeah, I didn't either, by the way, because I was at CES last week and then doing the show, and of course I didn't. But you know what I did do? I used Rocket Money, our sponsor here, to do it for me. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Over 80% of us have subscriptions that we've forgotten about, like that streaming service you bought to just watch that one show, or that free trial that you never used and then the trial ended, but the subscription didn't, Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want. And even better, Rocket Money makes canceling subscriptions as easy as the click of a button. Find the subscription you don't want, press cancel, and then Rocket Money cancels it for you. No more long hold times or tedious emails. You don't have to be frustrated. You just have to be a Rocket Money user. And it's not just you, right? I've been loving this. Like I said, I used it to get rid of that old Wall Street Journal subscription. You can't cancel that online. It's stupid. Well, I can now with Rocket Money. Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/MGG. That's rocketmoney.com/MGG. One more time, rocketmoney.com/MGG. And our sincere thanks to Rocket Money for sponsoring this episode. You know what one of my favorite apps is? I know you know what I'm going to say. It's BBEdit. I love BBEdit. I know it sounds silly to be so happy about an app that just works with text. But that's just the thing, right? Because we're using text all the time. Sure, we use text when we're coding. It's how you do it. You do the typing, it makes the thing happen, and then you do the thing. BBEdit is spectacular for coding. They use BBEdit to make BBEdit. That should tell you right there. I use BBEdit for all the coding that I do. It makes things look nice on the screen, makes it so that I can understand, I can see, did I close this function where I thought I closed it? Oh, no, okay, great, fine. It's great at that stuff. But it's also great at just regular text stuff. You want to compare two files? Boom, BBEdit does it. You want to count the number of characters in a file? Boom, BBEdit does it. You want to do like a file compare from the terminal? BBEdit does that too. You run BBDiff, you install their command line utilities, and then you can use BBEdit from the terminal, but it doesn't come up with some terminal version of BBEdit. That sounds like it might be an April Fool's joke. No. It launches the files that you pointed at in the terminal. It launches them into the full BBEdit, so you can use your mouse and your eyes the way they're meant to be used. They have a generous eval model, 30 days of full functionality to try the app. And if you've tried it with a version pre-14.0, well, good news. You get a fresh eval period, discounted upgrade pricing for existing BBEdit customers. Just go barebones.com, check it out, download the trial, experiment with it, then go back and buy barebones.com. And our thanks to Barebones and BBEdit for sponsoring this episode. All right, so Pete, you and I were wandering around in the ground floor of the Venetian, which is, at least for CES, called Eureka Park, where there are tons and tons of vendors that do very specific things. And usually you get the people who made the product, often the night before they were working on it, right? You're not dealing with some marketing person. You're dealing with the people that actually make the products. And you and I found something cool that I think you're going to tell us about, yeah?
Well, if you insist, I can do that. Yeah. So yeah, the Snap 3 Pro is what it's called. And here's how I know it's cool. 4 days later, it's still attached to your phone.
It's still attached to my phone. Yes,
yes.
It is.
Am I right or am I right? So,
yes.
Look, pop sockets are cool. They really are. They're great, but they have a limitation, right? You have to take them off in order to use your MagSafe wallet or to MagSafe charge, and the sticky doesn't always work, and then you're going, yeah. So if you're watching online, on YouTube or what have you, the video, Dave has it up there. You can see it. It's about the thickness of a nickel attached to the back of his phone, and it works just like a pop socket. When you pull it out, you can get your two fingers in there, and it's nice and thin. You aren't spreading your fingers apart too far and getting any fatigue going there. And you can rotate 360 degrees, and it will even go into the kickstand mode if you so choose and wanted to do that. And once you're in the kickstand mode, you can also rotate it 360 degrees. Here's the other cool thing about this one. Once you flatten it back out, you can attach it to anything metallic. the fender of your car, your refrigerator, gym equipment, anywhere you want that's magnetic, attach your phone to it. And the magnets are strong. Oh, by the way, you can still use your wallet, your MagSafe wallet. You can put it on in MagSafe charge. I've never used I've had pop sockets on my phone. Well, pretty cool. Used them for a day or two at the most and ripped them off because, I keep having to pull it off to use the Qi charging and all that stuff. This Qi charges right through it. Here's the other cool thing. For all of you who love Macs but happen to have Android or the Google Pixel, you take it out, and in about 15 seconds from opening the package, attach it to your phone, and now if you have Qi charging, you now have a MagSafe capable phone. It magnetically locks to the proper position so you don't bump your phone in the middle of the night and wake up with a dead phone. So
yeah, I was shocked that I could charge through it, Pete. That was, and it charges just fine. I put this on my phone for one reason and one reason only. You needed a video of it going on a phone, and while we were at CES, and you already had one on your phone because they had just put it on. I thought, fine, I'll put it on, and then I'll take it off because I use all my MagSafe stuff all the time. And here we are. 4 days later? It's still on my phone, and I didn't put it. So it's got magnets and a little bit of adhesive in it, but it's the kind of adhesive that you can take off and put back on without an issue.
Right.
For those who aren't watching, it is on my case, not on my phone, and it still works for all of the things Pete mentioned, including MagSafe charging. So yeah, this is definitely cool stuff found.
They hit a home run with this one. I'm trying to think, was there any other thing about that I wanted? They do say, that was it. I was going to mention the website. It's snap.com. And the price point is $29.99. If you're willing to give them your email address, you can get it 15% off, down to $25.50. That's on their website. And they have some other things. They do have a Snap wallet, and they've got another one in there that if you don't fly a lot, unlike me, there's a little knife blade in it. It's kind of a utility kit wallet thing that they have. I was looking on their website. But mounts for your car, mounts for all kinds of places. This one's a home run. It's still on my phone too. I didn't know. And wow.
Cool.
So
cool.
Yeah, it's a fun one. That was a cool stuff found. I was real impressed with this one.
Yep.
It's amazing.
That's what we love about CES. Yeah, we didn't even know about them.
I mean, this isn't
Yeah. No. Yep. Rounded the corner, and there they were. All right, John, what do you got for us?
Our friends from OWC were at the show, and one of the things they were showing is their latest dock called the Thunderbolt Go dock. What's different about this, you may ask?
What's different about this one, John?
It's not bus powered. It actually has a built-in power supply, so it's got the juice.
Well, not only is it all their Thunderbolt docks, like the desk Thunderbolt docks, have not been bus powered, right? The difference between this one and the previous ones is that the power supply is inside it, so you don't need their external power brick for it, and it's got a standard power plug on it, which means if you forget if you're traveling with this, boom, you just go and use a standard plug and you're good to go. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a Type A that's called. I forget. Yep. But anyways, yes. So it's got the juice, which you may not have with a bus powered device. 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port. That's nice. I'm seeing more things that have higher speed Ethernet ports, and it has all the ports that you would expect as well. Let's see here. SD, audio, USB 2, USB 3, HDMI, all that stuff. But their product line keeps evolving. So I thought that was nice to see.
Yeah, just some details. The one there are 3 USB-A ports on it. One is USB 2. The other are USB 3.2, which is 10 gigabits. And then there are 3 ports that look like USB-C on it. One is a 10 gig USB 3 port, and the other 2 are Thunderbolt ports. So you get and then there's a third Thunderbolt port or a USB-C port just for power delivery on the side, so that you can connect up to your laptop too. But yeah, it's got It's got, so that means you connect one of these to your laptop. That is also a Thunderbolt port. So there are 3 Thunderbolt ports on this. You get Thunderbolt hubbing with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that right?
Yeah, and they were showing that, there was a screen plugged into it. There was a tablet plugged into it. Yeah, so if you need the, excuse me, if you need the juice, then this is a dock that you may want to consider.
Nice.
Let's see. Shipping in March, $3.99.
Okay. Oh, that's right where it should be. That's good. Cool. One thing that mattered at CES was, the new smart home standard was seen in lots of products. I don't know if the video's up at this very moment when we're recording, but we got to see the Eve smart home plug, the Eve smart plug, working now not just with HomeKit, but working with the A-Lady and with Google and everything working across apps because of Matter. They upgraded the firmware in it to support Matter, which is very cool. We also got to see the Homey Pro Smart Home Matter Hub, which is coming out shortly. You can pre-order it now. You can pre-order it for $3.99. This is a smart home hub with, bear with me, Wi-Fi, Z-Wave, Bluetooth Low Energy, Zigbee, infrared, Matter coming in Q2, Thread radio. So it's got all of that in it, and it's your smart home hub, so it can control all of these things from one app. It's also got a feature that it's kind of like Homebridge, built in, except you don't have to set up your own Docker container or get a Hoobs device or whatever. Homebridge is the thing that bridges non-HomeKit stuff to HomeKit. And so they have their own cooked up engine that does the same thing. It takes all the stuff that's connected to this hub. It'll push it through to HomeKit for you and expose it to HomeKit for you so that you can see it. But yeah, very cool to see this device. This looks like it's going to be a good thing for people with lots of different devices because you can, it's super flexible.
Yeah. Dave, so much of that went over my head, but I will tell you the one question I did have, you may remember, was, well, look, we're blessed and we have a second home, and I have a Nest thermostat and a smart lock down there. I said, do I need 2 of these? Oh, no. It doesn't know where your stuff is. It just makes it work.
Well, it doesn't know where your stuff is if your stuff is cloud-based, right?
Yes.
And that's true of your Nest thermostat. Yeah. Right. However, your Zigbee stuff, your Z-Wave stuff, your Thread stuff, that is all local to an environment. You've got what we would call a high air gap resistance issue between controlling Thread stuff from your home in New Hampshire to your home in Florida. But yeah. And then
in which case you would need to set up a VPN, obviously, to your...
No, if you put one of these in, you would have to put one of these in your second home.
No, that's what Florida. I mean. I could control it from home if I set up a VPN on my, right? What do you think?
No, your Thread device, I don't know what you're saying, so I'm gonna be abundantly clear here because we might be agreeing. No, your Thread radio, your Zigbee radio, your Z-Wave radio, these are all short range things. Think of them sort of like Bluetooth. So you can't VPN and you can't do Bluetooth across.
Yeah,
VPN.
my route. I get it. My router is not going to send those frequencies to those devices in the home. But I have the ones I have are Wi-Fi.
If they're Wi-Fi, then you're fine. Yeah. But otherwise, and then this Homey hub also does automations, and these automations are way more advanced than the automations that you would get in like the home app or the shortcuts and all that stuff. Like you can do all kinds of things with these, and it is a visual automation generator. So yeah, this is one to keep an eye on, folks. It's called the Homey Smart Home Pro Hub. Yeah, fun stuff. Pete, you got another one for us?
I do. The second one that I'm bringing to the table this morning is the Scosche GoBat MagSafe 5K power bank. This one's cool. It's a I wish I could show you, but I'm using my phone as a camera, but it's yay big. and it
say yay big doesn't really
it is,
work. 'Cause
I'm going to tell you.
listening.
Well, I'm trying to get there. I'm going to
Okay.
call it 4 inches by 2 inches, maybe 4.5 by 2.
It's the size of maybe 8 credit cards stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, a little smaller than a deck of cards, and maybe a half-inch thick. MagSafe smacks right up on your phone and stays even with that Snap.
There you go.
It's got a USB-C power up, and then it has a power level indicator with 4 little LED lights, and then there's a blue light that comes on when you attach it to your phone, and you double. Yeah, there we go. If you're watching on video, when you press the power button, all the lights come on. The blue light tells you it's powered on. If you double click the power button when it's attached to your phone, it will turn off, so that it isn't draining the entire time.
So you could leave it on your phone without it draining the
it draining the battery, and then you can power it up when you need it. That way you could put it in your pocket, because it does get warm,
Sure.
like all Qi charging does. So put it in your pocket, and you don't have to have it on when you need it. It's there, and this is a sweet little portable battery. Looking for the price point. I think it was $54.99.
I think that's right, $54.99. Yep.
And works with all models of the iPhone 8 and later, Samsung Galaxy, Google Pixel, anything Qi enabled, and USB-C type of device to recharge it. I noticed it recharged in about an hour and 10, I think.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Not bad. Nice.
5,000 milliamp hours. Yeah, extra to keep you topped
And as
off.
as a travel tip, I found that, so at least my phone, which is a 12 mini, I can't get through a day without having to charge it with something. And
Really?
so I typically pack maybe not 1, but 2 battery packs. Just
How about you, Pete?
keep
Were you
alive.
able to get through a day at CES without charging?
Barely. And only because,
Interesting.
again, now this phone is 2 years old, and I am hard on my phone's batteries for the last 2 years. But, by the end of the day, I was down in the 20s and the teens.
Interesting.
But I had to be in low power mode to do that. If I'd have been not been in low power mode, then no, I don't think it would have made it. So having
'cause
this after the second day was huge.
I was in low power mode the whole time, and I mean, I would get to the end of the day at 40%, maybe.
Well, somebody I know has a fresh new battery with an M1.
No.
Actually, there's an M1 in my
No,
iPhone 12 Pro Max.
No,
but-
there's not. We don't have M1s in our iPhones. There's Apple Silicon chips in our iPhones, not
Right.
M1s. But
Okay, correct.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. My phone is newer than yours. But yeah, I didn't have that issue. John, were you in low power mode?
No.
Oh, rookie mistake, my friend. You must do this. What I do is I turn on low power mode, and then I turn on my shortcut automation. So if you go into the Shortcuts app and go to automations in the middle tab, I set an automation that says when low power mode is turned off, set low power mode to on. And then that way, even when I charge it up and it hits 80%, it turns the low power mode off. What happens? Low power mode was turned off. Let's turn it back on. It turns it right back on. So I leave that automation running while I'm traveling, and
I
it
had
makes
that shortcut, and it somehow got overwritten, and I was looking for it, and I went, I don't have time to mess with it now. So you just gave a quick tip and didn't realize
it was a
Make
quick
that
tip.
shortcut.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Yeah, and I think I'm trying to remember. It'll tell you things it won't do, like I think background tasks and all that. If
Yes.
you do go into low power mode,
Yeah.
which now that I think about it, why don't I just run in low power mode all the time?
My kids do.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if they do currently, but certainly like when they were in high school and college, they used low power mode all the time. Yeah, because they're using their phones constantly. They want their phones to be doing things for them, not for the phone. You know what I mean? So they wanted to control it.
I've had the big frustration for me has always been when I go to my laptop, the photos aren't there yet. So that's the reason
Yes.
to come out of low power mode. It won't transfer photos to the cloud in the
Well, you
background.
can tell it to. If you launch the Photos app on your phone, scroll to the bottom, and it'll
and say
say
sync now.
Yeah, it'll say it's paused because of low power mode. Just hit resume and off it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I ran into that during our so we did a lot of video, which you'll be seeing soon. But the one thing that happened to me was, I'd go to the phone and it's like, I'm still uploading this stuff to iCloud. And I'm like, oh man, I need this video now. Connecting the phone via USB and importing directly fix that problem.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Yeah. And if Photos is smart, it will pull the new things from your phone that it hasn't gotten over the cloud, and then whichever device uploads it to the cloud first, the other one won't try to do the same thing. Yeah, I was impressed with that for sure.
Yeah. How do it know?
How do it know? Well, it should know. Those things are tagged.
Old database in there.
Yeah. We saw screens, I'll say, at CES. The first one that really caught my eye was something I saw in press release just as CES was beginning. And this is the Samsung 5K studio display. It's called the 27-inch ViewFinity S9. And it is to compete with Apple's studio display. It is a 5K monitor from Samsung. So 5K means it's 5120 by 2880. It has a built-in color calibration engine. It's got both USB-C and Thunderbolt 4 connectivity. It's got a built-in webcam that runs at 4K. Hi, Apple. How you doing? It's got a Samsung Smart Hub in it. This thing, no pricing on it, no availability yet that I have seen, but I'm pretty stoked about getting to see that. Just somebody else making a 5K monitor. I want one, even though I don't need one because I have my 5K monitors. But with Mac Minis and Mac Studios out there, that's what you want. So.
Yeah, but you're going to need to give one to me, Dave. So,
Right. So now I need another one.
John's going to need one.
That's right. Yeah. In addition to that screen, we also saw some wireless TVs at CES. The first ones that we saw were in LG's booth. And my video from the LG booth, I do one every time I go to CES. I'll put that up today. What LG means by a wireless TV is a TV that has only one wire, a power cable. It also has a separate little breakout box that you plug all of your HDMI stuff. It's got, a USB port, and it has an antenna in it. And yes, it will broadcast full 4K from the box to the TV. It goes about 30 feet. You can even aim the antenna at the TV so it's directional, which gives it, better range. And it's just, like the TV, you can't plug into the TV. You can only plug into this. And the nice part about that is you don't have to worry about where you place your TV versus where you have all of your Apple TV and if you have a Blu-ray player and, all of those things. So, yeah, it's pretty fascinating device. Yeah, it's cool.
So, all right. So the box connects to the TV wirelessly. What?
Correct.
Well, it's okay. I don't know what protocol they're using. Not that it
Correct.
matters.
It's a proprietary protocol. Yeah.
Now, can you also connect to the box with your computer? Is that what I heard you say, or no?
Well, I mean, you could plug HDMI from your computer in. The box. Think of the box as just like your TV currently, right? Has HDMI and USB and Ethernet and coax inputs on the back of it, right? Correct? Yes.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So this TV has nothing like that on the back of it. They have taken those things out and put them in this breakout box. So it's the same as your TV, except the functions are split wirelessly. So you can plug all of your HDMI into this breakout box, and then the box sends the signal to the TV wirelessly, which means you don't have to have all those cables running to your TV. You don't need to put your TV on a stand. You don't need to drill holes in the wall and run your HDMI cables through the wall. It is just wireless, which is pretty cool.
So there was a comment in the Discord that the box looks big, and someone said, well, yeah, Brian Monroe said, well, it can be as big as it needs to be. You can put it in the closet. But as I recall, Dave, weren't they saying that this is more of a prototype and it's going to be smaller, or am I confusing?
No,
that
you're
with
confusing that with the
Something else.
Musicine, Miroscene. I can't remember the name of it, but the VR music thing. No, I believe this is the box.
Yeah.
It's not released yet. We don't have pricing on it. The TV they were showing it with was a 96-inch TV, 97-inch, sorry, OLED TV. So I think it's probably going to be pretty expensive.
It was pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the whole idea of sending 4K wirelessly is really the breakthrough here. I'm impressed that they're doing this. And you're right, you can put the box in the closet. The other one that we saw was from a company.
Before you go on,
Go
I'm sorry.
ahead.
Quick
Yeah.
question: did we ask gaming, like Switch and that kind of stuff? Was there a low enough delay, low enough latency?
They say the latency is low enough for that.
I didn't remember whether we had asked that or not. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's a company called Displace, which also makes a wireless TV, but their definition of wireless goes one step farther.
Yes, it does.
They take the power cord out. The TV is powered by batteries. They said you could get days of viewing time on, I think you can put up to four batteries in the TV. This thing, it's a 55-inch TV. I think it's like $3,000, I think, for the TV. You can charge the batteries. You can stitch the TVs together, but it is truly wireless. And they have this like vacuum suction thing that you just mount it to any flat wall surface or glass wall surface, like a window or something, and you just pop it right up. So $3,000 for a 55-inch TV is obviously a lot of money. If you need something that is wireless, you're going to pay a little more, and so that gets you some of the way here. And then being able to attach it and detach it from the wall just sort of instantaneously is pretty cool, especially if you're setting up, like a booth at a trade show or something like that. So, yeah.
Now, forgive my geriatric memory. I think they also had the ability to stitch several together, right, to create multiple display. Yeah, so they were up to like $10,000 for I think it was 9 screens.
I thought it was 4, but you might be right
it may be
about
4.
that. Yeah. You can
it is now
combine.
yet, but
you can combine 4 of them into a 110-inch TV with 8K resolution. You can combine 16 into a 220-inch TV with 16K resolution. So yeah, it's more than 4 for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's 20 pounds.
It was cool.
Yep. I agree.
So there's my Christmas list.
Fun stuff. Yeah, exactly. John, so you're watching TV. You've solved the wires problem. What about really immersing myself in the environment? Did you find anything for that?
Hey, if you want to immerse yourself, so of course, cool TVs like you just talked about, having your eyes input things is nice, and the higher res, the better, like 5K. But there's another aspect to sensory perception that a lot of us don't experience. Well, these guys are going to help you out here. AromaJoin. And to put it in a nutshell, it's smell-o-vision.
Okay.
These guys have realized it. So they have a device called the Aroma Shooter. It has 6 cartridges in it. I guess they figured out how to boil scents down to 6 elements, and it will basically generate scents either standalone, or they were showing me, or you can use their tool to synchronize certain scents with a movie that you're watching. So the demo that they gave was, they showed a woman walking through a field with flowers, and I was standing there watching the movie, and all of a sudden I smelled flowers. We had talked about this before. The thing is, smell is maybe one of the more important senses, but it certainly enhances your viewing experience. So it's neat that these guys are out with something that, again, will help your sensory perception or enhance your sensory perception of what you're watching.
So the one thing that I wanted to clarify is it's not like it takes 6 cartridges and then magically can make any scent in the world. You
Right.
can put 6 cartridges in it, and you pick each of the scents from those for those cartridges. So, and I'm looking on their website now. They've got spearmint, natural forest, clove bud, sandalwood, cinnamon, floral soap, desert rain, creosote, right? Eucalyptus. So but if you wanted red wine, you'd need to get the red wine scent pack to put in there, and you can only have 6 in at a time, right? Correct? I mean, that's what their website looks like. It doesn't look like there's some magic 6 cartridges that can just make anything. They've got
Right. No, I
hundreds of
see here. Yeah,
fragrances.
they have. They say they have 500 scent solutions.
There you go. Yeah. So you can have 6 loaded at a time in your device. Okay. All right.
I think that may be just the ground floor, though. Like anything, right?
I'm with you, Pete. Yeah.
This is the light bulb before the LED.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I mean, what would it take, and I don't know the answer to this, what would it take to have, to generate any scent on the fly? I don't know how that would work.
That was a chemical engineer wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
They would have to figure all that out. My favorite example of something like that was, though, I remember taking the kids to Disney World and going to, was it Lilo and Stitch?
Oh, yeah.
Ride in there. Remember they hit you with the chili dog, the puppet burps, and you smell chili.
You smell chili. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, whoa.
So speaking of engineers doing interesting things, Pete, back to so we've talked about the visual sense. We've talked about the olfactory sense. What about our auditory sense, Pete?
What? Oh, what? So if you're like me and you've been around a lot of jet engines for a long time, no matter how many gosh darn earplugs you put in your ear and double hearing protection and all that, once you hit your 6th decade on the planet, I can tell you that when the kids are speaking and the blender's going, there's a very little chance you're going to hear the television. Very little chance. And what's more important, right? A rerun of Big Bang Theory or what your kids are trying to say to you? I'm just saying,
Obviously the former, and that's what we have a cool stuff found for.
Oh.
It is, yeah. So this is the Mirai Speaker, Mirai, developed in Japan by a gent whose father was elderly and starting to become hard of hearing. There's a volume knob on the top, and
Describe
just a power
the shape of the speaker.
Yeah, so it's a I would call it a quarter circle, quarter pie shape, and the just on the back that takes a 1/8 inch stereo jack, or it may be stereo, maybe mono, I don't know, and a power button and a 12-volt supply. So it's very simple in that sense. But one of the biggest disappointment of the thing that I missed at CES was I brought you over to the booth and you looked at it and you're like, yeah, okay, and then you're like, wait, what? And then we walked over with John and I said, John, look at this. And the gentleman was standing there and he has this tiny little music box that's not even in a box, and he winds it up. And with the din of everything, frankly, I couldn't hear it at all. And then he puts a piece of, it looks like an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, except it was clear plastic. And he held a music box next to it, and you could kind of hear that there were notes. And then he bent it into this shape that's similar to the round side of the quarter pie shape that I'm holding in this speaker. And you could hear it plain as day. The one thing I'm sorry I missed at CES was not having the video on and literally watching John's jaw drop. He was like, wait, what? Whoa, how'd they do that? And they're focusing the sound waves, plain and simple.
That's what it is.
But you would think it would be more in a cone shape, bending both sides facing it. This actually bends the sound away, but it focuses in the frequency range of the human voice, and it allows.
Yeah, this wouldn't be good for general listening. This is
no,
good
this
for
is
your
not a
center
good
channel.
Music
Music.
this is not good for music.
Right. But it does hit that speech range and gives you a super boost and a super directional boost. So yeah, pretty cool.
It puts it right through, and being able to hear voice over the din of all the noise and people talking at CES, my jaw dropped too.
It was amazing.
Yeah. In fact, I think they have that very demo on their website, which is well hidden from me at the moment. It's in the show notes.
Yeah, I've got it in the show notes for us. Yeah, pretty cool. Speaking of hearing things, Victrola was showing off their latest and less expensive turntable called the Victrola Stream Onyx. This is it's a turntable. It has its own phono amp in it and RCA outputs. But where it really shines is when you have a Sonos system, because it becomes an input for your Sonos wirelessly. So it's $599.99. It does come with a cartridge. So you're good to go. It works out of the box. Like I said, it also has a phono amp in it. So if you're going to connect it to something else, it's got RCA ports on the back and you're good to go. And you just set it up and plug power in, and then wirelessly it connects to your Sonos. And the sound quality, we went to their suite over at the Venetian to hear it, and it sounds fantastic. Really warm sound, easy to use, and
No, it rocked.
It rocked. Yeah,
it really did. And the other thing, Dave, remember so he had two models there. One was more expensive than the other.
Correct.
But they buffered the sound for about 3 seconds.
Yep.
And then they delayed. You can also RCA jack it use an RCA jack to go to analog speakers, and they synced it up so that if you're using Sonos and wired speakers, the sound actually comes out at the same time, which is kind of important.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. That was a very Apple-like thing when they explained it, because it would work the way you expected it to work if you used it that way as just a general consumer, not thinking about the engineering of what's going on inside it. Yeah, and you can mute it with a button on the front. You can control the Sonos volume with a button on the front. So yeah, or with a knob on the front. Very, very cool little thing. So if you're into vinyl and you're into Sonos, Victrola, they're back in your lives, folks. So,
you know what blows my mind is that it was probably 5 or 6 years ago before vinyl really started making a comeback. I finally gave up and discarded all my old vinyl.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. 70s and 80s.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
I don't know how many times I joined the Columbia Record Club for, one penny for 14 albums.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yep.
Though it's interesting, the one of the bookstores I went to recently, I saw that they're selling vinyl. Like I saw Purple Rain, and I'm like, wait, is that a record? And they actually had record players as well.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, vinyl's back, I guess.
Yeah, vinyl's definitely back. There
It's
are
such
people.
a pure sound.
Well, no.
Don't you think?
No.
Okay.
Vinyl.
You're the sound engineer amongst us, so all right.
Yeah, vinyl completely ruins the sound of things. In that, when things. Well, here's sort of an interesting historical fact. Vinyl, you lose a bunch of high end, right? When you master for vinyl. So, or when you print to vinyl. So what you have to do is you goose the high end before you master it to vinyl, and then you can get a nice, even sound and all of that good stuff. They took those masters, the vinyl masters, and the very first CDs that we all bought were just made from those vinyl masters. So that's why when CDs first came out, they sounded like harsh and awful, because you were getting what the master had directly to your speakers. And so then they started remastering things, remember, for CD.
Right. It's remastered audio, yeah.
Correct. And then it was like, okay, well, we can pull out all this extra high end that we added. And look, if you like vinyl, with audio, confirmation bias is actually a good thing. Because if you like what you have, if you like holding the record, if you like putting the tone arm on the thing and watching the record spin, or if you simply believe that vinyl sounds better, it will sound better to you, and you will therefore enjoy it more, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with confirmation bias when it comes to sound. People that buy $25,000 speakers like them better than the $500 speakers that somebody else might buy. Also okay. One cool thing about vinyl is having listening parties where people bring vinyl over, and now it makes music more interactive. You put on vinyl, each side is only 20 minutes or so, and so you like, there's a lot of things. I at times have had a turntable in my office, and I really like the sort of the ritual of every 30 minutes having to get up and go and flip it. It gives me something to do while I'm, it gives me a break of what I'm doing and listening, because I listen to music when I'm alone in the office, just sort of, grinding stuff out. So but yes, vinyl is back. We just released the latest Bitter Pill record, Living Ain't Cheap, Dying Ain't Free, is available on vinyl, and it's all red. It's awesome. So
now, isn't there some science in the cartridge? Is that what it's called?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That will affect the input quality or
Correct.
Playback quality, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, and you can change out the cartridge, the needle, if you will, although the needle is part of the cartridge, so they are two separate things. But yeah, you can change out the cartridge on this turntable and, and put something. I believe they told me what cartridge is in it. I'm looking here. It is an Audio-Technica AT-VM95E cartridge. So, but you could, if you have a cartridge that you like better, then you can replace it, and that would be fine. So, yeah, fun stuff. It's good. Let's see what else. John, you got one more for us?
I got one more for you, Dave. Did you ever want to talk to the animals?
I talk to my animals all the time.
Did you ever want to talk to the animals?
The problem is when the animals talk back to me. That's when, that's when I get concerned.
Well, here we go. Yeah. Well, the folks over at FluentPet have solved this problem in that they make a kit that will let you talk to your pet.
And
you
let
may have
your
seen
pet
this.
talk back to you, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So basically, it's a kit here. It's buttons. So the hardware part is buttons and a pad, a colored pad. And then the other part is a training guide. And basically what this lets you do is set up buttons so that your pet can talk to you. So you could have a button for, they say it's for dogs and cats. I don't know how this would work with cats, but
Totally missed that. Wow.
yeah. But yeah, because I find for the most part cats are untrainable. Dogs, on the other hand, and the dog there, Ducky.
Completely utter BS. Cats are 100% trainable. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
They just look down their noses at us. That's all.
Right.
Yeah, they want nothing to do with you.
Also,
but anyways,
completely untrue. It has to do with how you train your cat. If you just ignore your cat, then it will ignore you. But yeah, no. We've got some cats in our house that are amazingly trained and like super interactive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you can get a kit. They have one with 2 buttons. They have one with 6 buttons, and the pads, the colored pads that I guess helps determine what's going on. But I just thought it was really neat. And again, you may have seen videos of dogs doing this. So you could have a button for, I want to go for a walk. I want some food. I just thought it was really neat seeing what I've seen in videos realized in real life.
Amazing.
And
were they showing it off with a dog? Like, could you?
Oh yeah, Ducky.
Oh really?
Yeah, the video. Yeah, check out our video coming up here.
Okay.
But I actually videoed, the dog going through the motions. It's like,
that's
I don't know.
cool.
I just thought it was really neat to see something that I've seen in videos be realized in real life, and talking to people that have actually developed the system to do this sort of
My
thing.
dog would find the treat button and hit it endlessly. I swear to God, you're trying to watch TV. She will go out 7-8 times in an hour if she can, because she gets a treat when she comes back in. She's got us very well trained.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Dogs and cats, they train us for sure. Yep. Hey, we've mentioned MagSafe. We've mentioned Qi. We've mentioned MagSafe today. We've mentioned Qi on the show many times. There was a lot of talk. I don't think I saw anything that was Qi 2 or a Qi 2 spec device at the show because I don't think it's been ratified yet. Certainly things aren't out and flourishing in the market with it. But Qi 2 is the next gen Qi standard that's coming out. And the Wireless Power Consortium, I think I have that name right, actually was working with Apple in developing Qi 2 because they're going to incorporate what Apple calls MagSafe into Qi 2 so that everybody gets magnetic charging, high power, all of that stuff. So that, to me, that's a really big deal that Qi 2 is going to have effectively MagSafe in it for everyone. Keep an eye out for this stuff, folks. It's pretty cool what's going on there. So, yeah.
Or get yourself an O-Snap.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, speaking of the future, keep your eyes out for USB 4.
Okay.
I was able to sit down with them.
What are the highlights of USB 4?
Probably, I would say the highlights in my mind, so faster speeds. I believe it'll go up to 80 gigabits a second, which is crazy.
Okay.
So more speed. That's nice. And the other thing, which I think was which should have been out in prior versions, is they now label things or suggest that you label things properly. So it shows both, especially with cables, is be very specific about how much power it can carry and how much current or the speed of the cable. They're encouraging labeling things properly so that you know this, because at least my experience, and so for example, the power cord, the Apple charger charging cable will handle a certain amount of power, but I sadly found out that it only goes at USB 2 speeds, and it's not labeled. So if I had to say the highlights of USB 4, that's going to be it. I mean, the speed is amazing, though. I mean, 80 gigabits a second. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I thought.
Yeah, and I agree with the labeling. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to. We all have, right? You plug in a cable and you're expecting data to go across it, and it's purely a power cable. It's like, what's good of that?
So I think we're misstating this here because if you're using it bidirectionally, I believe USB 4 only goes 40 gigabits per second. But if you're using it for DisplayPort 2, then it will support 80 gigabits since it's only going in one direction. So I don't think you get 80 gigabits for like a storage device, for example. I think you get 40 both ways, but if you're using DisplayPort 2, it goes it can do 80. Does that fit with what those guys told you? Because that's what Tom's guide is saying.
Mm-hmm.
So does that fit? Did they explain the differences between Thunderbolt 4 and USB 4?
We talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there any remarkable differences between the two?
That was not the impression that I got.
Got it. Okay. All right. I think cables start to get to be a little bit different. They appear to be the same, but Thunderbolt 4 cables at spec support 40 gigabits over 2 meters, whereas USB 4 cables only support that over 1 meter and drops down to 20 gigabits per second on cables that are 2 meters or longer. So I'm guessing for your 8K or 16K display that's going to use 80 gigabits over USB 4 unidirectionally, you've got to have a 1 meter cable. So, yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, it'd be worth getting more detail on that, John, because maybe a follow up with those guys to find out what they really meant about 80, because I had heard what Tom's is saying, that it's still 40 if you're doing storage. So,
Thinking about those numbers, though, that is just eye-watering.
oh, it is. It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, that's, what, again, I can't think outside the box far enough, I guess, to go, what possible use would I need 80 gigabits for, at least for streaming video and such. But I mean, I guess.
Well, I mean,
Let's
if you're doing raw, like uncompressed video, AKA DisplayPort, right? You could do 16K at 60 hertz. That's going to take more than 40 gigabits.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I think that's where that goes. And that's a good thing that we have a protocol to do that that's, out in the market.
But who needs to do that? I'm just saying, who needs
Well, as you get your 8K TV, you.
Well, there you go. Well,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yep. So, all right. Where are we on? We are pretty much finished here, I seem to think. I'm trying to think if there's any one thing to share. No. Well, yeah. Fine. I will, because I have to give this back to my wife because she took my AirPods Pro Gen 2 before I ever even used them. I got to test out the Catalyst AirPods Pro Gen 2 case. So the AirPods Pro Gen 2 have a few things that AirPods Pro Gen 1 didn't have, namely the speaker, physical things, right? And so the new case has holes in the bottom for that. It's got a hole in the side for the included loop wrist strap that loops through the case. And then it's got a it's a rubberized case. I've always loved the Catalyst cases for AirPods. They really seal things up, but they aren't clunky or bulky to use, in my opinion. Right. And so you just flip open the top, and then you can flip open the top. And one cool thing is the light shines through the case, so you know when it's charging and all of that good stuff. So, yeah, that's the Catalyst AirPods Pro Gen 2 case is where we're at with that. I believe it's $29.99. You can get it from the Catalyst website. So.
There you go.
Yep.
Got to have a rubber case on the AirPods because there's nothing more slippery than an AirPods case in a public restroom.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, or try going through, security with your AirPods case and trying to put it down and pick it up. No, it's going to just slide all over the place.
Yeah, they squirt. They squirt out of your hand. Yeah.
That's the word. That's the word. Yes.
There may be a show title in there somewhere.
There's a show title in there somewhere, and it's probably not going to be that. But, there you go. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Fun stuff. Yeah, Pete?
Okay, hey.
Okay, hey. Okay, hey. Yeah, there we go. What do we got? Anybody have any last things to share before we pull the ripcord on this thing?
Ooh.
Nothing. I hear nothing. Make sure to go check out Pete's other podcast where he talks even more. Actually, he interviews some great people and lets them speak. Fantastic show called So There I Was.
I'm the co-host.
He is the co-host. He and Fig do I love that show. I got to meet Fig virtually this week, so that was fun. A big thanks to CashFly for providing all the bandwidth to get the show from us to you. Make sure to go get your MGG t-shirt at macgeekgab.com/merch. We have some stickers up there too. Some fun stuff. And that's what we got for today. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for checking out our sponsors. Of course, the ones we mentioned in the show. Kolide.com/MGG. BBEdit at barebones.com. Rocketmoney.com/MGG. And have fun out there, folks. Don't do anything we wouldn't do. What else? Can't remember what else. I'm not wearing my Mac Geek Gab t-shirt. Yes, John.
The good news is that we came back from CES. And you know what that means?
What's that?
It means that we didn't get caught.
Made on a